The danger is to please an immediate public.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Artist Provocateur. My name is Josephat and today we're going to continue our conversation about what is art. There's generally not a unified definition of art and it's been changing throughout time. Most of the more traditional definitions mention two elements, a technique and an idea. So on the one hand, art always is intentional. It's never accidental. That's why only humans produce art. That's why a beautiful sunset is not art, because it's not deliberately created. And the second element is a technique. I can either paint or write music or create a sculpture or take a photograph. There is always a process that involves me taking my idea and transforming it into a product, either tangible or intangible, in the case of music, for example. Now, as we will see throughout this course, that definition in itself, even though it's very general, can get a little tricky sometimes because not all works function in the same two realms. Another common trend in the definition of art is the fact that it stimulates individuals' thoughts, emotions, beliefs, or ideas through the senses. That is, it's something that can be experienced and it's something that stimulates my response, my individual response, be it emotional or intellectual or my belief system, through this perception, through this experience of the art piece. When we talk about the definition of art, we're usually talking about the goal of art. What is the goal of art? The traditional definitions usually say that it's all about creativity and self-expression, but the truth is that a lot of pieces go well beyond creativity and self-expression. An art piece can be created to express ideas such as political ideas, spiritual ideas, philosophical ideas. It could be to create a sense of beauty, purely to create an aesthetic experience. It could be to explore the nature of perception, to challenge the way we perceive things. It can be created for pleasure. It could be created to generate strong emotions in the audience. It can be created as a commodity in a purely capitalistic way. But also, sometimes it can be created for no purpose at all. Speaking about the traditional definitions of art, Leo Tolstoy identifies art as the indirect means to communicate from one person to another. Later on, people like Benedetto Croce, for example, he presents this idealistic view that art expresses emotion, and therefore the work of art exists in the mind of the creator. This is going to be very important later on when we see some artists that don't necessarily approach their works in a tangible way. Art serves a number of purposes. Some of these are not motivated. That means they present almost automatically or don't serve a specific purpose for humans. One of these things, for example, is our natural instinct for harmony, balance, and rhythm. Our brains are wired by means of evolution to understand and read and perceive symmetry and balance and rhythm, and to assign values to those elements of design. This then presents in a way automatically. We don't have to make this in a conscious way. We don't have to deliberately decipher the works in this way. It just happens. Our brains are just designed to read it that way. We can use art to experience the mysterious, as it's called. That is, to feel a connection with the universe, to see through a work of art the similarities that exist with other human beings, and therefore to feel this connection. Again, this is usually not an experience that happens in a conscious way. It can be just automatic. It happens if you've ever stared at a painting that you just felt really touched by, that you felt very deeply connected to. Another purpose of art is to express our imagination. In a non-grammatical way, I can create a piece of art that defines my situation. Let's put it this way. You cannot necessarily express with words your emotions when you're feeling profoundly sad or even profoundly happy, but you can create a drawing of it, and it can more accurately and in a much more complex way define or identify the way you're feeling. In many cultures, art is also used for ritualistic and symbolic functions. Look at any major religion or pretty much any national emblem, and they always have this component of art to them. This presents again in an almost natural, unconscious way. It's just part of who we are as human beings. On the other hand, there's other purposes that are very much intentional and conscious, and are deliberately put there as an objective by the artist. Communication, for example. Art at its simplest form is a communication exercise. It's an exercise. It's a communication channel between the artist and the person that perceives that art, that experiences that piece of art. Art can be entertainment. Think about a movie or a video game. There is a very clear idea of turning this piece of art into something that is enjoyable and that can bring into you a particular emotion or mood. Art can be used for political change. It's very often used in protest. It's very often used in propaganda. It's very often used in any form of communication, again, that has a political ideology behind it and that intends to affect change in the person that is perceiving it, that is receiving this message. Art can be used as a free zone, a space that tries to erase cultural differences and establish a common ground. It can be used for societal inquiry and for subversion, in the case of, for example, graffiti, right? Where you are not necessarily, as on the previous example, creating a political message, but rather making a commentary on the existing socio-political situation. Art can be used for social causes. It can be used to raise awareness or to raise funds for a specific cause. Think about, large concerts that are benefiting a specific social cause. It can be used for psychological healing purposes. There's art therapy, for example. There's a lot of ways in which art is used in psychology, for example, as a tool to allow the individual to express his inner most obscured emotions through exercises that relate closely to art techniques. You can use art for propaganda or commercialism. That is, you can use it, like I said, as a commodity, right? As a product that is commercialized with. You can use it as a tool for information that is trying to affect change, to convince the audience of a particular political stance. Art has long been controversial, that is to say, disliked by some viewers for a variety of reasons. Most of the pre-modern world controversies are either deeply recorded or just completely forgotten. For example, The Last Judgment by Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel was once controversial because of the nudity and because of the pose of Christ. Manet's The Luncheon on the Grass was once controversial not because of the nude woman, but because the men were dressed in contemporary clothes, John Sargent's Madame X caused an uproar because of the reddish pink color that the artist chose for her earlobe, because it was considered far too suggestive and to destroy the image of the upper class. Pablo Picasso's Guernica was very controversial when he used cubism in black and white colors to express the consequences of the bombing of a small town. And finally, Andres Serrano's Peace Christ is a picture of a crucifix submerged in the artist's own urine. The uproar caused by this last piece actually went all the way to Congress to discuss funding for the arts. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. This concludes the second part of our video, but before I leave you, here are 5 questions to continue our conversation about what is art. Number 1, what is the goal of art? What do you think is the biggest contribution of art to the human experience? Number 2, have you ever experienced a connection with a work of art, and how was it for you? Number 3, is art as a tool for protest or subversion effective? What change can you effect through art? Number 4, what do you think art is effective as a tool for therapy or emotional and psychological healing? And finally, number 5, is the controversy surrounding this artwork completely dependent on its time, on its context? Are we going to look back at the controversies of the artworks of today, 20 years from now, and think that we're unjustified and that we were looking at the artworks too harshly or being too critical about them? Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. This concludes our discussion about what is art. Please don't forget to leave your comments below, and I will see you next time.